Hello, everyone. We are almost at the top of the hour, so I'm going to give just a few more minutes for a few more attendees to join us before we get started. So have some patience with us. We'll get started in just a minute. And of course, I'm just pressing buttons over here on my slides.
Jumping ahead.
I know. I'm excited. This is an exciting topic. 2025 was a great year, so I'm excited to talk about some uh, some real stats and real dealer info from 2025 and looking forward to 2026. I can see quite a few people pouring in, so this is good. We're gonna have a good session today. I'm gonna give it about 30 more seconds and we'll get started. All right, I see a few names I recognize in the attendees. So for those that have joined us before, welcome back. For those that are new, we are excited to have you here and we're going to share some really exciting information. A couple of housekeeping things. Today, we are talking about the 2025 Parts Profit Report. Now, what we promised you guys in this webinar was that we were going to talk by OEM, by dealership size, specifically what people were achieving in 2025 in parts profit. So we're going to talk through top part sales, top selling regions, the parts and accessories that you want to sell the most because those are the ones that are the most sought after online. And then, of course, talking through real numbers from real dealers on what they were able to achieve and exactly how they did it. And so, the point of this webinar today is to not only go through these numbers, but also share with you guys real numbers by OEM that you can download and take home and use maybe as a way to be more successful in your parts department in 2026. Or if you're not currently selling online, maybe you can use it as some good fuel to get your parts department online in 2026. We're going to have a Q&A box open during this webinar. So if you have questions or you want to chat with us, feel free to do so at any time. Emily is going to be answering all of your questions and your chats in the chat box. I see we've already got some chats going, so very exciting. Please do not hold back. She is a wealth of knowledge and will be happy to answer every question you've got. So speaking of Emily, Emily, she is a marketing manager, 5 years of experience connecting dealers with tools online to grow. Emily, you want to introduce yourself and maybe talk through your experience a little?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you everyone for joining today. I'm really stoked to brag about our customers on this webinar today. I've worked at Revolution Parts for a cumulative 5 years now. I have a passion for connecting dealers with tools to help them grow their online business and take their dealerships nationwide and sometimes global. So again, I'm really excited to share some of our top performing dealer performance in 2025 today. Thanks, Amanda.
Absolutely. Our next host today, James, who is Emily and I's boss, so you'll have to be nice to him. James is our Chief Marketing Officer. James, would you like to share a little bit of your excessive experience with some of our attendees here?
Is that an old joke, Amanda? Are you trying to make fun of me because I'm the oldest guy here? So
Hey, we can't see our attendees. There could be some parts managers older than you.
I've been in marketing for a long time, e-commerce for a long time here at Revolution Parts for a little over 7 years, and including Revolution Parts have facilitated a little more than $7 billion in total e-commerce sales. I I do lead sales and marketing here, but I also work with dealers to grow their sales online, and have a lot of experience with that. I see here Bill's had his hand up since the beginning. Bill, I don't know if you have access to the chat there. If you have a question, you're welcome to add it, or I could just unmute you if you really want to get that question answered early. Go ahead, Bill. I got you unmuted. Got a question?
Oh,
Okay.
it looks like he's still muted from my perspective.
I think that we unmuted him on our side, but he has to unmute himself on his side. We don't want to unmute him
That's
just
right.
in case he could be in the dealership right now. But I will say, Bill, if you have a question to ask, throw it in the Q&A box or the chat box and we'll answer it.
Yeah. Okay. I just didn't want you to feel like we were ignoring you, Bill. I see you.
I also want to know if Bill Murray is your real name, because that's pretty great if that is. Okay, so that's James, and I'm Amanda. I'm also in marketing here at Revolution Parts. I have a little bit different of a story than these two. I have not been in Revolution Parts or in e-commerce for a really long time. I actually started out where all of you guys are. So I have more than 10 years of experience in dealer marketing. I started out working in the dealership and making Facebook ads, trying to sell. My first dealership was a Ford dealership in West Texas. And so trying to sell vehicles online, I've worked in fixed ops marketing, and now I am marketing to dealers. So my experience, a majority of it comes from y'all's side of the world. And today I am helping dealers all over the country to achieve success in a very different world, the world of parts. So that's where I come from. I'm going to open up a poll right now, and I would love if, while we kind of go through some more housekeeping items, that if you guys would answer our poll. One of the things that we want to know from you guys is what OEMs you're coming from. We're going to talk through some of the major OEMs today and what some of those OEMs saw in 2025 as far as parts profit goes. But maybe we missed your OEM, maybe we didn't. We didn't create a report for your OEM in particular, and you're looking forward to one in the near future. So give us a little bit of info about you so that we can make sure that we're focusing on the right OEMs. And we would love to also spend a little extra time focusing on the OEMs that we know for sure we have here on this webinar. Okay, housekeeping items. Make the most of this webinar. Again, chat and QA function. We're going to send out the recording. So if you miss something on the webinar, you will get the recording afterwards. And then if you don't get your question answered live and you need more information, marketing at Revolution Parts is a way you can reach all three of us. So if you don't want to put your question in the Q&A box because you don't want it answered live, please feel free to send us an email at any time. All right, today's agenda. We're going to go through what you'll learn, dealer deep dives by brand. Again, we're going to talk by OEM through specific numbers and real keys to success, key takeaways in getting started, and then we'll have time for a live Q&A at the end. All right, James, I'm going to hand it over to you while the attendees here finish up the poll.
Great. So 2025 was a great year for online sales. It's been steadily growing up and to the right year over year, going all the way back to post-COVID. But definitely COVID, we saw a giant spike and it hasn't relented since. So just in 2025, first half of the year, $81 billion in parts and service revenue across North America for all new car dealerships. The Revolution Parts, dealers using Revolution Parts sold more than $664 million worth of parts and accessories. That may seem like a lot of money, right? It really works out to be the average dealer using our platform is selling between $50,000 and $75,000 a month. And our top dealers are selling $2.5, $3+ million a month. Really, you get out of it what you put into it. This is building an online business, right? It's not really a side gig unless you want it to be. But if you really want to make a go of it, you can make a lot of money. The good news is it's really not a crowded space. You know, there's only 1 in 5 dealers in North America are selling online. Most of the competition is against aftermarket. And that's really where Revolution Parts becomes a great partner to you, because we help you kick aftermarket's butt so that you can sell competitively, sell successfully online. Because the average person, the average parts buyer, do-it-yourselfer, does not know the difference between OEM and aftermarket. So they go online looking for what they need, and we can help you be that source. Roughly 60 million online shoppers visit our sites, one of our sites every month. So that's a lot of demand, a lot of opportunity for you.
Excellent. Okay, Emily, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thanks, Amanda. So I'm just going to echo James here for a second. Last year, Revolution Parts dealers sold over $664 million of parts and accessories through the platform. This is a 10% increase over last year. And like James said, it's been increasing year over year, which just goes to show that, selling parts online is a really strong revenue stream despite market conditions. Again, during COVID, we saw that it was the saving grace for many dealerships. On average, our dealers see $250 average order value. Um, and as you can see here on the right, we have three chief revenue channels. Last year, our web stores, our branded dealership web stores, definitely dominated on the revenue side. But eBay and Amazon are really, really strong revenue sources as well. That quote at the bottom from Craig, he's the parts manager at a Dallas dealership, kind of says it all. E-commerce is like adding a new profit center to your dealership that is essentially, market proof.
And if I
Yeah,
could, Emily, I just want to jump in here real quick and point out eBay specifically. It's our fastest growing channel because it is the world's largest automotive marketplace. And the dealers who are having the most success on eBay are the ones who have the most obsolescence and are looking to move it quickly. So, of course, it's a great retail channel. Most of our dealers who are using eBay are very successful. But if you have obsolescence or you want an immediate start, like you just want to dive right into the deep end and start selling right from the start, eBay is the way to go.
absolutely. I was going to say the same thing, James. It really blows my mind looking at these numbers that eBay is less than 10% of the online sales because I can't even tell you how many dealers we talk to every day who say, oh, well, I'm just on eBay. I'm just trying out eBay. I got a few parts listed. I'm kind of dabbling in it. You're only touching 10% of the online sales if you're just dabbling in eBay. Web stores where it's at, that's where dealers are making the most money. And we've had several clients say it in a lot of different ways, but you can't be half in and half out. Dabbling on eBay is not the way to make money. Getting all in with a web store is.
I'll say just one more thing about eBay. The great thing about selling on eBay through Revolution Parts is you get to skip all the fees. So you're even more profitable. You get hands-on coaching so that you become a preferred seller. It's the best way to do it. Back to you, Amanda.
Not
Yeah,
not all of the fees, just to clarify, not all of the fees, but you get to skip the listing fees, the storefront fees, still got to pay eBay, their pound of flesh, but you definitely have reduced fees.
yeah.
Thanks for clarifying, James.
The story goes, we had a dealer who was working with us and selling on eBay, and then he decided he didn't want to work with us anymore, and he was going to continue selling on eBay. And the very next month, he got a very large bill from eBay when he no longer was working with Revolution Parts and taking advantage of the Revolution Parts discounts. There's been some argument over exactly how big that bill was. We were originally told 50,000. We were recently told, he said, oh, it wasn't that big, but and several tens of thousands of dollars of a bill that came to him from eBay because he decided he was going to go it alone. So, if that's not reason enough to find a partner, I don't know what is.
And he was on one of these webinars once, right? I remember he got so upset because we never named who it was, but it still hurt
Yeah.
to find out
Oh,
the hard way.
a $50,000 bill, $40,000, $30,000 bill, no matter what reason, is going to hurt. So,
Tough to
I can
explain
see
that
why
to your
he's doing that.
GM. Really
Yeah,
tough to explain that bill to your GM.
I think he was
absolutely.
embarrassed on that webinar.
Probably a little bit. Okay, so I wanted to go through a couple of really important things on this slide. So, top regions by revenue. The reason why this is important is because growth isn't isolated to one reason or one region. We had a Dallas dealer on here, a review from a Dallas dealer. People say, oh, well, he's in Dallas. Of course he's making big sales. It's because he's in a big city. Well, the beauty of e-commerce is that it isn't isolated to just your region. As a matter of fact, he is in a city that is very oversaturated with car dealers and very oversaturated with opportunities to buy parts. And so by getting online, you're able to get outside your region. And by working with a company like Revolution Parts, you're able to work with somebody who is experienced and willing to help you get into the regions where you're going to make the most money. And so our Revolution Parts marketing agency is great. If you have a huge amount of obsolescence, and we know for a fact that those parts are going to sell better in one area than another, they're going to help you advertise into the areas that you're going to be able to sell those parts quicker and for better profit. And so Let's say that you are in the South region and that you feel like there is no room left. We're going to talk through the OEMs here in just a minute, and you're going to see by OEM exactly how many dealers are online, and it's going to shock you how much room there is for growth. And then best-selling parts and accessories. There's one common thing about all these parts and accessories. They're not optional. Basically, every vehicle has them. Now, there are a few, there's a few electric vehicles that don't have spark plugs, I'm sure, or oil filters. But basically, every vehicle has these parts. So people aren't just going online to buy, roof racks and truck bed covers and things that are fun. They're going online to buy things that they need today or sometimes yesterday and are very essential to their vehicle. And so the things that are important to them are good customer service and fast shipping. And that's where the OEM does it better than anybody. They're not going to get parts as quickly from an aftermarket manufacturer most of the time as they are from a dealership. And so the dealerships are really capturing a lot of these sales because they're able to ship out OEM specific parts very quickly. And that's what these individuals are looking for.
And Amanda, if I could just add to that, just as you pointed out, maintenance parts are selling, the top sellers. What's great about that for anyone who's selling online is if you deliver great customer service, then you can count on those people who are buying those parts to come back and buy from the same things from you, same maintenance items from you over and over again, right? So there is a lot of opportunity.
I know that in my house, we are DIYers. And if there's one thing that DIYers are really good at doing, it's breaking things. So if they're buying an oil filter today they're changing their oil. A couple months from now, they're probably going to change their brakes. And then a few months after that, maybe they want to upgrade something. And when we break things, we need parts fast because we just broke something that's essential in our vehicle. And so DIYers are great customers to have and oftentimes repeat customers because the parts that they're buying, they cannot afford to live without them. I speak from experience here. I could give you a list of things I've broken. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a do-it-yourselfer too, but I've had to have my car towed into the dealer a couple times because then YouTube videos not quite as useful as you might think they are initially.
Yeah. For me, the problem is I bought a vehicle in the very first year model that it was made, so there were no videos.
Yeah.
We were trying to do things on my vehicle, and we were the ones that should have been making the video because we were the first. Before we get into the brands, let me just go through our poll here. James, it looks like Ford encompasses about 17% of this webinar. So that's great. 17% of our attendees are from Ford dealers. 17% are from General Motors dealers. A whopping 30% are from Nissan and Infiniti. We've also got some Mopar dealers on here. And then the other category is over 50% of our attendees. So I would love if you guys that selected other category, if y'all would put into the chat, there's Bill with Hyundai. If y'all put into the chat what OEM you come from. We do have some stats on those OEMs as well. We're happy to share those reports with you. So Hyundai, Honda, Toyota. If you're not directly on this webinar, that doesn't mean we don't have those stats, but we would love to hear where you're from so we can make sure that we create reports for you in the future.
Yeah, in fact, let me just say, and this is not a pitch to get you to go to the site, but this is where the information lives. If you go to revolutionparts.com, click on Insights, every quarter we release reports per brand. That includes Honda, VW, Volkswagen, Hyundai. So there's not enough time to cover all 17 major OEMs in this session. We took a guess on what the right blend should be for this. But if you go there, there's reports from last year, and then every quarter we roll out new reports for the previous quarter for those brands, right? And they're all free to download, and you don't have to give your information. Just grab that stuff and share it how you like.
Yeah, and every OEM that's being put in the chat right now, we work with those OEMs, so we do have reports for all of these. I was afraid we were going to get like a Lucid or something like that, but every Volkswagen, Volvo, Honda, Mazda, Hyundai, yes, we have reports for all of those, so you can find those on our website.
So all of you probably heard the term VIO or UIO, vehicles in operation. And obviously the online demand is tied very closely to how many vehicles are in operation, right? Ford, GM, Stellantis, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Toyota, Honda, they have the most vehicles on the road. Candidly, there's the most demand for the parts for those vehicles and parts and accessories. But at the same time, those also are the most competitive, right? And as I mentioned earlier, one of the things that Revolution specializes in is helping you compete against the aftermarket. Now, for the smaller brands, right, that have fewer, Mazda, for example, Hyundai, Volvo, the good news for you is there is less demand, but there are also a lot less dealers, a lot less competition online. So even if you're not in one of, selling on behalf of one of those very large manufacturers, there's still a lot of opportunity. So let's start with Ford, right? I would rank Ford number two, right behind GM in terms of total online demand. We have close to 300 dealers, Ford dealers selling online successfully. As I mentioned earlier, the average is between about 50 to 75K, but it goes all the way up to millions. Here's a dealer that falls into that first bucket, right? So they're selling about 2.5 million a year. If you break that down, what's my math, guys? I'm in marketing, not finance. What is that per month, Emily? Do you remember off the top of your head? 2.5 million divided by
250K.
12, 250K. Okay, perfect.
Close enough.
Um, Thank you. Yeah, there you go. Uh, so this is an opportunity, or on the left, you'll see here, Missouri Metro Ford dealer. Amanda mentioned earlier about dealers who are in very large markets, right? Who may feel like there's too much local competition to expand. This is an example of a dealer who's actually in more of a rural area and has a smaller, demographic. And so the only way for them to grow is to extend their reach nationally. And they're doing a really good job of it. 250,000 in sales. They're probably able to manage that with a part-time person, half-time person, right? Who comes in the morning, clears out the orders, gets them all shipped out. At that point, you probably don't need a full-time rep, and you don't need probably an inventory most likely bigger than about I'd say around $250,000 worth of inventory, turning once every 2 months, ordering in from the PDC is probably all you really need to support 250,000. So I'll let you read the numbers. I won't read them to you, but I just wanted to just emphasize on this slide that, regardless of whether you're a large dealer, looking to really grow millions and millions, or you're in a rural area as a Ford dealer, interested in just, getting your GM off your back and growing your sales, more modestly, the opportunity exists for either.
Yeah, James, one thing I want to highlight on this slide, though, that's really important because we hear from Ford dealers more than I think any other OEM. The market is oversaturated. I'm not going to sell online because it feels like every dealership is selling online, and less than 10% is the actual number. So, what feels like an oversaturated market to you as a dealer, to the consumer, does not feel oversaturated at all. Sometimes they're having a hard time finding parts and they're having to go aftermarket because they can't find an OEM part that can ship to them quickly. And so, with only 10% of the nation of Ford dealers currently selling online, there's a huge opportunity for Ford dealers to take advantage of a huge chunk of the market, that 78 million that is currently just kind of being wasted. All
Okay,
right, and
cool. Let's talk about, yes,
Stellantis.
let's talk about it. CDJR. So Stellantis dealers sold 95 million in parts and accessories last year through Revolution Parts. That's no small peanuts. And here we have a Texas Metro dealer that we've featured. And you're going to notice a trend with a lot of these dealers. They're taking a multi-channel approach to selling online, which kind of sounds like a bunch of buzzwords, but what it really means is they're not dipping their toe in, they're jumping all in. They're selling on their own branded web store, they're selling through Amazon and eBay, and they're investing in marketing. And that's kind of the recipe for success. Um, and this account in particular, they did 7 million in sales, and 8 million in sales on eBay lifetime. That is definitely on the higher end. And we love to talk about eBay. We won't shut up about eBay because it's such a great place to sell obsolete and aging inventory, which is why so many of our dealers are running an obsolescence rate under 3%, often under 1% too. But this account is really kind of taking advantage of eBay past that obsolescence benefit. It's a strategic revenue stream. Again, eBay Motors is the largest parts and accessories marketplace in the world. And in the, I think, 10 plus years that this account has been selling online, they've kind of built one of the largest PDC Stellantis stores in the country from that commitment to sell that multi-channel strategy, investing in marketing, and the long-term commitment to winning online. So that just goes to show it doesn't happen overnight, but with commitment, you can create this unstoppable online revenue stream for your dealership.
Yeah, and we did promise that we weren't just going to talk about big dealers. We weren't just going to talk about dealerships in big cities. We do have some reports. We're going to share a link to those reports so that you guys can go download them. Does not require you give us any of your information to download the reports. We're not trying to do that to you guys. But the Stellantis report in particular, if you download that report, you will get information on dealers in smaller cities and with smaller staff than this guy has. This guy is obviously in one of the largest cities in the country. He's got a really large staff, so he can handle 7 million in sales. But we know that that's not everybody. We got some one-man shows. We got some people that have, 2 employees in their entire parts department. And so the report shows multiple different size dealers across the country so that you can kind of see realistically what you as a dealer could expect if you were to get into this. This guy, I've talked to him directly. He's been in business for, he's been doing this for 10 years. And so he wasn't selling $7 million on day one. So if you want to see some more realistic numbers from starting, maybe if you're a smaller dealership in a smaller area, we do have those in the report. But the big thing that we really wanted to share with you here is not just one dealer's numbers, but sales as a whole. So you can kind of see what the opportunity is. I'm going to go over GM. And so, again, this is a Texas Metro Chevy dealer. General Motors is there's more General Motors dealers than there are any other dealer in America, right? Is that right, James?
That's correct.
So they are the largest. And so our GM dealers, they sold 77 million in parts through Revolution Parts in 2025. And this particular dealer, again, 780,000 in monthly sales. They didn't start yesterday. They're not brand new at this. They definitely have been putting a lot of effort into it, but they're really going for the multi-channel strategy, getting on Amazon, eBay, and with their own web store and selling a lot of parts and significantly reducing their obsolescence. I know, Emily, you've talked to this dealer directly. This particular dealer, they started out with a very high obsolescence when they started with us in 2018, and now they're below 3%. So it's not just for them about making money. It's also about clearing out obsolete parts and making their daily lives a lot easier. And I'm sure getting their GM off their back because they're not wasting money on obsolete parts. So one thing that is really great about this dealer is the 24% increase in average order value since launch. So because they've been working with Revolution Parts, because they've been working with consulting services, and they have been using the experts on our team to really increase their profits, they're able to price correctly, they're able to advertise correctly, they're able to do all of the things necessary to not just increase their number of orders, but increase the amount of money they're making per order. So this particular dealer is doing absolutely everything necessary to make big profits.
Nissan Infiniti, one of my favorite brands. For those who are not aware, Revolution Parts runs their Tier 1 and Tier 3 program. So we took over the program in October of 2024. And over the last, say, year and 4 months, that program has grown exponentially. And I don't mean that, figuratively. I mean, literally, it has grown quite a bit during that period. Dealers are experiencing a lot of success. One of the things that's most exciting, I don't think we have any Nissan dealers here, so maybe I'm going a little too deep into it, but they have PDC Direct Ship, which allows them to ship out any order that comes in directly from the PDC. They don't have to order it into their store and ship it out. They can have the PDC ship it. So it's pretty exciting for them. Here's a dealer in Colorado that is selling, and all three. They're selling through the National Store, eBay, and Revolution Parts, their own Revolution Parts store. They're using our agency services. So this is something I don't think we've talked about much, but we don't expect parts managers to be e-commerce or marketing experts. That's just not the reality of it, right? And so we provide e-commerce consulting and expertise along the way. But just as importantly, we also provide marketing services for those who need it. There's this old Kevin Costner movie. Some of you are probably too young to remember it, but it's called Field of Dreams, and he built this baseball field and in the middle of his cornfield. And all throughout the movie, they're saying, "If you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come." And at the end, he builds it. They pan out, and there's this long line of cars coming. Well, unfortunately, e-commerce doesn't work that way, right? When you launch a store, you do have to promote it. So you can promote it through your own market. If you have an in-house marketing team, a lot of dealers do. You can work with existing agencies, or you can use our marketing services however you want to do it. I would like to say our marketing team is probably the very best, so it generates the highest possible return. And so one of the things that's great about marketing services, e-commerce is not equal there. Thank you. I appreciate the support, Emily. Uh, the Lost my train of thought, guys.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I forgot where I was going. I was rambling on and on. I just want to say, guys, like, promoting your site is one of the most important aspects, especially early. Once you are up and running, you'll have a lot of repeat business. So your acquisition costs, your cost to promote or market the store drop significantly. But initially, you need to put that money in. You need to do some investment. So, for the Nissan stores and this one in particular, they're doing a really good job from a marketing standpoint. They're seeing the growth that they're expecting. I suspect that for 2026, Nissan dealers will see $80 million plus in total sales.
Yeah, there was a 90% growth between 2024 and 2025. So if we touch that number, if we get anywhere close to that number in 2026, 90 million is a very easily attainable number of sales for Nissan
Yeah,
dealers.
nice.
And it used to be, there was a time when that was unheard of, for Nissan to sell nearly as many parts as Ford does. That was unheard of for a long time. But now Nissan and Infiniti is really they're coming for the other manufacturers, and they're doing great online.
Okay, let's get into the luxuries here. Mercedes-Benz. I talk to a lot of dealers of all brands. One thing I hear often from the luxuries is that they don't feel confident that the volume game of selling parts online is right for their business, or that they can't meet the quick and dirty sales they perceive e-commerce to be. And that's why I like this Illinois-based dealer that we featured here in particular. This is a premium brand with a really impressive average order value. You can see there their average order value is about $380. This is about $150 more than the average AOV we see across our accounts. And when you're processing 1,000 orders a month, like this dealer is, that makes a pretty darn big difference to the tune of, I want to say, $150,000. Did I do that math right, guys? So I mean,
Maybe.
this just we're marketers, not math wizards, okay? Bear with
Absolutely.
me. So this just stands as testament. Luxury buyers do shop online for parts. Luxury dealers do have incredible long-term success online. Take it from these guys in Illinois. And, again, you won't hear me shut up about marketplaces. 37,000 marketplace orders processed by this dealer. It's another great example of a store that's tapping into these captive markets on Amazon and eBay to grow nationally and beyond their branded web store.
Emily, one thing I think that's important to mention with the luxuries is there's not as much price competition,
Yes.
right? The people who are buying value brands, Kia, Hyundai, they're going online and they're looking for a good deal. So dealers are kind of stuck selling between cost plus 15 and cost plus 20 to get any real volume. But with Mercedes-Benz, Lexus, and other luxuries, the owners are just not as price sensitive. Those dealers are selling for cost plus 20 to 30, in some cases even more, very successfully. What matters to those buyers is great customer service, right? And they will come back and buy from you again and again.
I
Well,
actually work with a dealer, a Lexus dealer, who refers to his parts and accessories customers as guests. rather than customers. So it is that kind of luxury white glove treatment that you give to your customers that keeps them coming back, and he has incredible repeat business.
Well, it's also worth mentioning that with Mercedes, there's not as many dealerships. Mercedes, BMW, the luxury brands, there's not as many dealerships as there are from like a Mopar dealer. And so if you as an individual buy a Mercedes dealership, you might drive 300, 250 miles to go buy your vehicle from that Mercedes dealership. Are you going to drive 250, 300 miles to buy brake pads? Probably not. So it's even more essential to be online for these luxury car dealers than it is for even a Mopar dealer, because oftentimes a person's only option is to buy those parts online. Because I mean, maybe Mercedes drivers will drive 300 miles for brake pads, but I know that I'm not. Same thing with BMW. This one I love because when we say a Georgia Metro BMW dealer, I'm not allowed to tell you exactly who it is, but they're not in a major city. They are near a major city. And so I particularly love this stat because they are kind of being forced to reach outside of their general area because they're not directly in a multi-million person demographic. And so this Georgia Metro BMW dealer, again, web store, Amazon, eBay, and marketing services. They went all in. They didn't sit on the fence. They went all in on e-commerce and averaged almost 600 monthly orders, which is amazing for a BMW dealership. And again, a $300 average order value with about $2 million in annual revenue. And if you do the math, they basically working solely in e-commerce and making online part sales, they basically pocketed about $60,000 in profit for their parts department just off their web store alone. So it's a really fantastic story for this dealer because their income for their parts department was not high. It was a majority of it was coming from their own service department, and they were able to achieve pretty significant numbers of growth for their dealership. So $28 million in BMW parts sold through Revolution Parts in 2025. So that's BMW specific parts being sold by dealerships through Revolution Parts, and you can see all the different channels. It is a 60,000 orders for one dealership is a huge number, regardless of your manufacturer, but even better for a BMW dealer.
That's total parts sold, right? Not margin, because the margin would be much bigger on 2 million. So,
oh yeah, that's
okay,
total parts sold.
I think you might have accidentally said 60,000, like pocketed 60,000. They pocketed hundreds of thousands, right? So not 60,000.
The 60,000 pocketed was in 1 year alone. Those 60,000 orders, they would have pocketed much, much more since 2019 than 60,000. They're probably averaging between $60,000 and $75,000 in profit, just pocket like money into their pocket every single year based on the sales that they're making. So
sure. Well, 2 million annually, even at 10% would be 200K, right, Amanda?
Yeah.
So 20% would be more like 400K. So I think it's a lot bigger, but it's not a big deal. I just don't want to scare anybody, right? 60K would be a lot less than like 5%. So
okay.
We're not math guys, I know, but that one I know. Okay, Volkswagen. This is one of those weird ones. I wouldn't say it's a luxury brand, but VW buyers are kind of fanatical. Same with Volvo dealers. These guys just love their vehicles. They are really proud of the brand. They align themselves with it. And so similar to luxury, which is the reason we put it here, similar to luxury brand owners, they are not super price sensitive. They want to get genuine parts for their vehicle because they love them so much, and they keep them for a really long time. And so this is a dealer in Pennsylvania who, like the last one I talked about, is selling across multiple channels. They launched their store in 2018, and so they really have made this. They've built a real business here. There's not a lot of VW drivers on the road. I would say it's one of the brands that has maybe middle of the road in terms of how many cars are in operation. 1.2 million annually is right where they want to be, right? Based upon the size of their store, the staff. So they're quite happy with what they've built, and they're not trying to go, for big numbers.
1.2 million in annual revenue is a pretty big number.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick my nose up at that. That sounds pretty good to me.
I'd take it. And also important to note, I know we didn't have this in the last couple of slides, but important to note on this one, Volkswagen, 17% of US dealers are online, US Volkswagen dealers. So again, huge opportunity for Volkswagen dealers. Only 17% of y'all are selling parts online. I think the next one that we're going to talk about is Subaru, and I love Subaru. And Emily, I'll let you talk about Subaru in just a second, but I want to tell a story about a Subaru dealer I was talking to. They were in Alaska and they were thinking about selling parts online, but they couldn't decide if it was really worth it because they said, we're in a tiny town. There's not that many people here. And I don't know how much you guys know about Alaska, but they were like, people aren't driving into our town to service their vehicles because it's most of the year, it's too dangerous. And so we looked it up, and the closest Subaru dealership to them was like 1,700 miles away in Canada. And we were like, selling parts online would be great for you because you would be one of the only Subaru dealerships available to get parts from in the entire state. So there's huge opportunity for dealers where there's just not a lot of dealers in their area, not a lot of dealers selling online. And that's something that we can help. If you contact us, we can help you determine, is it beneficial for you to sell in your area, or do you need to go across the country? Okay, Emily, go ahead. Sorry.
Good point, Amanda. So I believe this is our
I'm sorry. I love that story. Talking to a Subaru dealer that was literally the only one in the entire state. How often do you get that?
I loved the story too.
Me too.
So I believe this is our last feature before we move on to key takeaways and cut you guys loose. Here's a Subaru dealer from North Carolina. And again, like Amanda said, in the OEM level reports that we'll send you a link to download after this webinar, we feature dealers of different sizes in each of the reports. So you get to see an instance of a dealer that looks just like you. But let's talk about this one really quick. 1,000 monthly orders with a pretty solid average order value of $200. This store is a great example of what we've been talking about, that high repeat purchase strategy that ties into the volume game of selling parts and accessories online. They built a foundation of return customers led by that great customer service and reliability we've been talking about here and there, which is why we're seeing that 4-digit average monthly order volume. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. 1,000 orders seems like a lot of work, especially if you're not currently selling online. You're thinking, holy crap, there's no way I can do that with my current setup, and that's understandable. But this dealership in particular didn't actually need to hire help until they hit the 250 order a month threshold. And in general, we don't see dealers needing to hire e-com help until the 50K, to $75,000 in monthly revenue mark. And that's because we have set this all up so that you can grow at your own pace, easy to use tools. There's a lot of automation, things that happen automatically without you needing to touch it to keep your e-commerce business running. So while 1,000 orders seems intimidating, again, you grow at your own pace and it's totally doable with your current team. In fact, we even have one-man parts departments that are successfully selling parts and accessories online. And what's cool about this account, these guys have seen a 50% gross profit increase since they've started. So, while they focused on their volume game strategy, they were able, through customer loyalty, to bump up their gross profit over time.
And if there's anything Subaru dealers know, it's customer loyalty. All right. So if you didn't see your OEM here, we do have some more profit reports at this link, and Emily's going to share it in the chat right now so you can go to the link. Again, we're not asking for your email or phone number. You can go to that link, directly download the reports, and you can see multiple different size dealerships from different geographies and even more OEMs within that report. If you click the other report, we've got some Honda, some Hyundai, some different dealers in that report that you're going to be able to see what different OEMs look like and what their profits looked like in 2025. I'm really excited for 2026 because we're already seeing some new avenues in 2026 that dealers are taking to increase profits. So if you look at this 2025 profit report and you say, well, that doesn't seem achievable, those numbers seem unreasonable, we're telling you it's not. These are real numbers. They're actual dealers. And a lot of time, if you talk to these dealers, they're going to tell you they themselves were skeptical until they got involved. And then they are just head over heels in love with e-commerce. So go download your report and get some more information from that slide. Key takeaways. I think I'm going to hand this over to James.
So we're probably getting into the realm of repetitiveness here, but guys, there's a lot of opportunity to sell online, right? And it is unfortunately not one of those things where you just, send, pay your monthly subscription and, the orders magically flood in. Our most successful dealers do three things, right? Number one is they price competitively. We didn't talk about that here, and I want to be clear. I'm not saying price the cheapest. I'm saying competitively. We have the insights, as Amanda mentioned earlier. We can help you find the right price that gives you the balance between gross profit and volume that you're looking for. Two, promotes the site, going back to that Field of Dreams reference. And three, delivering excellent customer service. I have never seen a dealer fail in 8 years here that has done those three things, right? So there's a lot of opportunity and the market is growing.
Yeah, and to go back to what
You're
you said about pricing competitively, Craig, the guy we had the review from earlier in these slides, he did exactly that. He said, "I'm going to be the cheapest. I'm going to price competitively," and he will tell anybody that listens. He priced as competitively as he could when he first got online, and he lost money and called us and said, "I have to fix this. How do I fix this problem?" And he was able to work with Jensei, our eBay expert, to actually price competitively without going too low. So working with somebody like Revolution Parts is great because you have the experts at your fingertips who are able to tell you, here's exactly how to price, here's exactly how to list, here's exactly what parts are going to sell, here's exactly what geography you want to be in, here's exactly how you advertise. And so we like to call ourselves not a vendor, but a partner because we're able to answer all those questions and keep you from making Craig's mistake.
right. And as we also mentioned, dealers of all sizes, locations, brands, they're winning. Doesn't matter if you're a small rural dealer in the middle of Nebraska or a massive dealership in the middle of Miami, there's opportunity here to be had, and you can grow at your own pace. If you're ready to go for it, we got dealers that do that very successfully. If you're just looking to add, a few $1,000s worth of additional sales every month, and you're happy with that, we can do that for you as well. It's not as competitive in terms of number of dealers selling online as most people think, right? There's only 1 in 5 or less than 20% of US dealers are selling online. It's the reason why aftermarket is so dominant online is because there's just not enough on OEM suppliers. So there's room. This is an opportunity for you, regardless of brand. And it's really low risk, right? I mean, the investment to build a brand new business is very small. And the ROI can be really strong, especially as your parts business grows and your acquisition costs lower because of repeat business. And you don't need a lot of people, right? Most dealers don't need to bring on a new headcount, even then it's only a part-time headcount until they hit about $50,000 a month in sales. Most dealers don't bring on a full-time person until they get to $150,000 in sales. We're only talking about 5 to 10 additional orders per day to get started. If your department can handle an additional 5 to 10 orders a day, this is a great fit for you.
Absolutely. All right.
Yeah,
NADA. I'm excited. Emily.
super excited. Got to throw in the shameless NADA plug here. If you're attending this year and you're serious about growing fixed ops revenue, give us a visit. We're at booth 6337N. We're excited to party with you guys in Vegas. And we're offering a really cool deal right now. When you sign up before the end of NADA, we're giving you your subscription 2 months free, and we're totally covering implementation. This is the best deal we've offered all year. The best deal you're going to see come from us ever, probably. And I believe that the total value of it is could be over $3,000. So come visit us at NADA. Even if you don't sign up, we'd love to meet you. We'd love to chat with you. And yeah, thank you so much for attending our webinar. I believe we have a quick Q&A for any questions that you have lingering.
One
We
other
do,
quick
yeah.
thing, you also stop by, get your free hangover kit because it's Vegas. So, for those of you who like to partake in the festivities in the evenings, come on by in the morning. We got you covered.
All right. I know that we've got some questions that have come in the Q&A box, but if you have not put your questions in yet, put them in there. We're going to answer the questions that we've got. And if we don't get to the questions live, we'll answer them via email. But Emily, why don't you kick us off? What have we got sitting in the QA box for us?
Yes. Okay. Here's a question. We're a smaller store. Do you have to move a ton of volume for this to be worth it?
I think James already answered that one. No, you don't have to move a ton of volume for it to be worth it. 5 to 10 orders a day is what James said. So if you could do 5 orders, that's it. And it's again, it's not, people think I have to stock parts that I don't ever sell just so that I can be online. No, it's windshield wipers, it's oil filters, it's air filters, it's stuff that's already in your store, and it's stuff that you're already selling hand over fist every single day.
And I'll just add, the system automatically identifies whether you have something in your inventory or not. And if it doesn't, it adds a couple, 2 or 3 days of shipping time so that you have time to order the part from the PDC, get it in, and then ship it out. So even if you have a really small inventory, you could still sell the full catalog because you just order what you need from the PDC and get it out when you get it in.
We have a few more here. How does Revolution Parts help with marketing?
Well, as I said earlier, I'd like to believe that we have the best parts marketers. We do everything from organic or SEO to paid search and paid Google Shopping. If you're not familiar with that, if you go to Google right now and you just search for, I don't know, pick anything. I'm going to just use my vehicle, 2014, Dodge Durango alternator. And, at the top are these tiles, and that is Google Shopping. That's also called PLA. And so that's one of the best and easiest ways to drive immediate sales. And so we do an excellent job. Typically, dealers see anywhere between a 10 to a $15 return with that on every dollar spent. So that means you invest $1 or you invest $1, you're going to make $10 in return. And I can assure you, your GM and your general sales manager are not getting $10 in return for every $1 they're spending in new or used car advertising, and neither is your service drive.
And the reports that we shared with you guys that y'all can download go into the specifics of what your specific OEM can expect in return. But yeah, that 10 to 15 is the average. And it is incredible to see dealerships invest $1,000 in marketing and then turn around and make $10 to $15,000. You all know what $10 to $15,000 can do for your parts department.
Mm-hmm. We just got a new question here from Eric. Are there issues from dealers when dealing with larger size parts like engines, windshields, and body panels?
No, dealers love to sell those larger parts because it means higher shipping costs. All of our dealers are using, not all, I can't say all, most of our dealers are using shipping as a profit center for their dealership. And so if you're shipping something that's very large and you're adding 10% to every single shipping label that you send, the shipping on a windshield might be $50. Well, you just made an extra 10% on top of that as a profit to your dealership. So a lot of our dealers are using the shipping costs as a profit center that the higher the shipping cost, the higher the profit, and they absolutely love it. And to make it even better, many things that are huge, like body panels and engines, come from PDC, so they're not shipping it directly from their dealership anyway. So the click of a button, and they're just pocketing money, and they love it.
Yeah, I just want to add, surprising, we just had our team meetings last week, and one of the things that I learned was our largest order last year was a little over $20,000. Somebody bought an engine online. So I was just curious to see how many engines were actually bought online. It turns out to be there's a lot of engines bought online, which really surprised me. But sheet metal, that's easy enough to ship out. I will be honest, nobody loves shipping out windshields, but honestly, there's not a lot of online demand for windshields, some, but nobody really loves to ship them out.
You got to charge a lot to ship a windshield because that requires a lot of extra padding. So I don't think anybody loves buying windshields online, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's those large parts that require extra shipping cost also bring in extra shipping revenue. So it's a huge benefit for dealers when people buy an engine online.
Yeah, definitely have to spend extra time on detail packing a windshield, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's not one I would want to do. Make sure you
Looks like we have,
purchase the insurance for that package.
for sure. Don't skip the insurance. Okay, what kind of support do we get after we sign up?
Hey, there's a video that Alex, our head of our support team, just made, and we're posting it everywhere. You'll see it on all of our social media accounts. In 2025, our support metrics are absolutely through the roof because of all the work that they've been doing. It's really, Emily said this months ago, and it's kind of stuck with me. It's really a white glove service. And our support team is, our time to answer calls, our time to respond to questions, our IT team, helping out with any technical issues. We're fast, we're responsive, we are excited. And our implementation team is amazing because they're cutting implementation time down and providing amazing results for dealers very, very quickly. So I would say when you ask the question, what kind of support do we receive? White glove, the best support in the business, in my opinion, from people who are very excited to do so.
But more, I'd say, yeah, if you have a problem, you're definitely going to get quick response. But even above and beyond that, it's the ongoing coaching, the mentoring, right? It's the dedication to helping you be successful. I mean, we make money when you make money, and you really can't ask for better alignment and goals, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so we're dedicated to making you successful, selfishly, because we also want to be successful. So we're twinsies. We go to market together.
Love
Twinsies.
that. Okay, looks like I'm down to my last question here. This is your last call if you have any lingering questions, guys. Um, we already sell on eBay. Why should I switch to RP?
Oh man, did we not share that on the first
Yeah.
slide?
No,
Come
yeah,
We
on,
we
guys.
covered
covered
that.
that. Yeah, we covered that. It's definitely, we cover your listings fees, your storefront fees, right? We cover all of the hassle. If you were to go to eBay, you'd have to post one item at a time, one SKU at a time. We can push your entire catalog in seconds, right? So you can
With
sell
zero listing
more.
fees.
That's right. It's so much easier. It's so much cheaper. You still got to pay eBay's selling fee, right? So what happens is you sell, 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 and then at the end of the cash out period, they keep their percentage, and you get all the rest, and all that money gets deposited right into your account.
But would you rather be charged $2 per listing or 1%, 1 to 1.5% is I think what it is, for your sales.
11.
And so it definitely makes a difference. But we showed in the very beginning, I don't remember the exact numbers because I'm not looking at the slide right now, but eBay is making several million dollars. There's several million dollars in parts being sold on eBay every year. There's 20 times that being sold on web stores. So while you can continue to make a decent profit just selling on eBay, if you really want to go above and beyond and make real money, the having your own personalized web store is where it's at.
Okay, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining. We really packed it all the way to 11:57.
We
I'm
did.
really happy that you all showed up, and feel free to reach out. You can engage either one of us directly through that marketing at revolutionparts.com. Email goes to all three of us. Or you can go to Revolution Parts Online to that link that was provided, or just go to revolutionparts.com and click on Insights, and you'll see all of the reports, not just the ones that we covered here. So a lot of opportunity to learn more about selling online. And if you decide that you want to get into the business, we'd love to guide you through the process.
Absolutely. Go download your reports and we will send out the recording of the webinar within the next few days so that you guys can have access to any of the data you may have missed. But most of this data is in those reports. So you can find it there and we will look forward to the next one. I think we're going to do another webinar next month, probably about another really exciting topic. So stay tuned.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye, all.
Thanks, guys.